Hi guys, welcome to another lecture, and today we'll be discussing something about TAPVC, TAPVR, total anomalous pulmonary venous return or total anomalous pulmonary venous connection. Before I begin, I would like to request you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please download our awesome app or go to our website and you can access all the courses that are available for practicing pediatrician, a PG resident, NEET PG aspirants, all of them. All the links are in description below, so make sure you check it out. Okay, so this topic of today will be TAPVR or TAPVC. Now, this topic has been very most one of the most asked questions to by all of my subscribers of my premium app or even my followers on Instagram. They have been asking me, and there has been a lot of confusion regarding this topic. So that is why I'm here to clear all the confusion and help you understand it a bit better. Okay, so TAPVR or TAPVC here, see, usually what happens is that this is a heart. Okay, this is a heart. Usually what happens is that the heart, there is a right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. So right ventricle, there is pulmonary artery and there is aorta. Okay, and the venous blood comes from either SVC, IVC, or and the blood that has gone to the pulmonary circulation, that will come via the oxygenated pathway of pulmonary veins. Okay, so this is the normal heart. This is the normal heart. Now I will draw an TAPVC heart. Okay, so in TAPVC, what happens is that the pulmonary vein does not open in the left atria. Instead, it chooses to go on an abnormal pathway where it will either open in SVC or it will open in right atrium or it will choose to open in IVC. Okay, so it chooses to open in right atrium or SVC or IVC, and the blood, all the source of the blood is right atrium. A patient in TAPVC, all the source of blood is right atrium because see, the venous return is also coming from the right atrium, and the oxygenated blood is also coming from in the right ventricle. So the input of all the blood of the heart in TAPVC is right atrium. So there is a possibility that in these patients, the SpO2 of all the SpO2 or the PaO2, the oxygenation or the SpO2 or the oxygen pressure of all four ventricles is same. SpO2, PaO2 of all four ventricles is same because the source of blood is right atrium. There might be presence of an ASD, there might be presence of AVSD, there might be presence of an AVSD, there might be presence of PDA. So any connection is possible, but a connection should be there in a patient of TAPVR for the blood to go to the left side. Okay, so all four ventricles will have same SpO2 in a patient of TAPVR because the source is only and only right atrium. Now, this TAPVC is ideally divided by two classification. In the first classification, it is divided as supracardiac, cardiac, and infracardiac. So, in supracardiac, what happens is that this pulmonary veins will open in the superior vena cava. In the cardiac, the pulmonary veins will open in either the coronary sinus, or directly into the right atrium, And the infracardiac, the pulmonary vein will open in IVC. Okay, so these are the three types of TAPVC. Now, the one thing that you have to absolutely remember here, that in the supracardiac variant, you see the snowman or figure of 8. Snowman or figure of 8 sign. Okay, this sign is not seen in any other type of TAPVC. It is only and only seen in supracardiac TAPVC. In infracardiac TAPVC, you see a RDS like picture. RDS like picture. There is ground glass lungs. Ground glass lungs. So ground glass lungs, or absolutely white out lungs, the white out or absolutely ground glass lungs are seen in 3 conditions in a newborn: RDS, infracardiac TAPVC, and pulmonary alveolar proteinosis. Okay, so these are the 3 causes of white out lung in newborn. So in infracardiac TAPVC, you do not see snowman appearance, you see a ground glass or white out lung. Now, you have to understand one thing, that there is another classification of TAPVC, that is obstructive TAPVC and non-obstructive TAPVC. Non-obstructive TAPVC. Now, what is an obstructive TAPVC? The pulmonary vein return, the blood that comes from the heart, it gets obstructed anywhere. Okay, it gets obstructed along its path anywhere. So there is a very common misunderstanding that obstructive TAPVC is a word used for infracardiac TAPVC, and that is absolutely wrong. Okay, obstructive TAPVC can occur with any type of TAPVC. Obstruction can occur with any type of TAPVC. Whenever there is blockage in the venous return to the heart, there will be presence of obstructive TAPVC. But the most common type of TAPVC to cause or to go into obstruction is infracardiac, followed by supracardiac, followed by cardiac. Okay, so any type of TAPVC may go into obstruction. There is no compulsion that only infracardiac will go, but the highest risk is with infracardiac. Okay. Now, the clinical features of both of them are different. So in non-obstructive, you have a mildly cyanotic patient with signs of CHF. The congestive heart failure is there. Signs of CHF is present, and there is a precordial bulge. There is a precordial bulge with RSR ECG, with RV strain pattern, because all the blood is going into the RV side. There is increase in the pulmonary markings. There is pulmonary hyperemia. Pulmonary markings are increased, and the patient is undernourished. So this acts like any other cyanotic heart disease. But in patients with obstruction, the clinical features are, there is moderate to severe cyanosis. Severe cyanosis with respi distress. There is a single S2. Okay, single S2. While in non-obstructive, it is a wide split S2. Wide split S2 is there. While in patients with obstruction, there is a single S2 with a gallop rhythm. S3 gallop rhythm is seen. Hepatomegaly and respiratory distress is invariably seen, and RVH is also seen over here. Okay, so this is the primary difference between both of them. Now, other thing you have to understand is that, see, ideally I'll show you. In patients of infracardiac TAPVC, see, this is the heart. Okay, so this SVC is there and the IVC is there, and both of them open in the right atrium. Okay, so the whenever the pulmonary vein decides to join the IVC, it does not simply join IVC. It chooses an abnormal pathway. Okay, so imagine this black line, this line that I've drawn. This is the diaphragm. So what does this pulmonary vein decide to do? See, this is IVC. This pulmonary vein decides to go niche tak. It goes niche. Okay, it crosses the diaphragm and it then joins the IVC. It does not simply join IVC above the diaphragm. It chooses to go down and as an innominate vein, and then it joins the IVC. So this is a very bad pinch point. The location that I'm showing you, this is a very bad pinch point of the patient. Okay, here the pinch point is very obvious because diaphragm is there. So highest chances of obstruction are seen with infracardiac TAPVC. Now, in these patients, imagine that there is this aorta. Okay, we'll just take it out. The diaphragm, we'll take it out because it will be difficult to display this. So the RV, there is presence of there is presence of pulmonary artery and presence of aorta. Okay, artery and aorta. Okay, so what is the role of ductus arteriosus in patients of TAPVC? Okay, what is the role of ductus arteriosus in a patient of TAPVC? So imagine there is ductus over here. Okay, ductus is there over here connecting between pulmonary artery and aorta. Now, when the ductus is open in this patient, the blood flow will always and always be from left to right. Why? I'll tell you. Many people ask me this question that shouldn't the blood flow be pulmonary artery to aorta? It can be, but usually it is from aorta to pulmonary artery. Why? Because the systemic circulation has to maintain a BP. Imagine that it is a child. Okay, so the BP of the child is 90 to 60, 90 by 60. Okay, this is the BP of the child. So the systemic circulation the left ventricle has to pump the blood out against the pressure of this systemic BP. Okay, so however, see, unless the RV or pulmonary artery pressures are extremely high, they are super high, until that the systemic pressures are obviously more, because as you can see over here, they have to pump the blood to the entire body. So for that, they have to at least cross the BP pressures. So if the direction here, commonly the direction is from the left to right side, what will happen if you open the ductus? If you keep this ductus open, what will happen is the blood is coming from here. Okay, the blood is going this way. Now imagine there is either presence of a VSD and ASD for survival. So the blood is also going to the left side. The source of blood is only right atria, and the blood will go to the left side via a connection like VSD. So imagine there is a VSD. There is a requirement of either VSD or ASD for the patient to survive. So once this happens, the blood again goes to the systemic circulation. But if the ductus is kept open, there will be shunting from left to right side, and this ductus will lead to pulmonary congestion because the blood is going from left side to right side. And already on the right side, all the blood is more. There is pulmonary hyperemia already present in patients with TAPVC. So here, the presence of ductus is not necessary, and this is a pulmonary ductus independent pulmonary circulation. Okay, the ductus is not required, and many patients, there is a hallmark that once you start alprostadil in these patients significantly worsen because of the pooling of blood on the right side. So worsening of a patient on alprostadil is a hallmark sign of obstructed TAPVC. So these are the features of TAPVC. This was what I wanted to convey to you and make it clear for you. All the other theory part you can easily read in hundreds of books that are available. But the concept I am explaining to you over here, this is the reason I took this lecture. That's all for today, guys. I hope you like this video, and I will see you in the next one.